Lady K and Lady J for a program which is geared to enrich you, mind, body, and soul, right here on 246 BajunVibesRadio.com, 12 till 3 on a Sundays AM, 7 till 10 p.m., 8 till 11 Eastern Standard Time. Don't you miss it. Feeling lethargic? Feeling lazy? Feeling tired?
Hello, hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in this part of this beautiful world. How are you doing, Will?
I am good. It's a good Sunday. It's a good day.
Oh my God, we got such a great Dr. Marcia. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's such a great topic this evening. Stepping higher and blessing my faith looks up. You know, the thing is that we don't even stop and realize that every breath we breathe is a blessing. Every breath that we breathe is a blessing. And how are you stepping this evening? How are you stepping? Are you pausing, doing some self-reflection and asking yourself, am I stepping light or am I stepping heavy? Do I really need to unpack as I step? Do I really need to unpack some of the weight that is holding me down and keeping me back from moving forward? Because when you get ready to step, you need to really declutter. And decluttering is inward and outward. It's looking at yourself and seeing the things that don't benefit you any longer and make that decision that I am going to declutter before I step. And in every season of transformation, there comes a moment that we are stepping higher, and as we step, it calls for a lot of faith. It calls for a lot of faith. As we're stepping higher, it calls for a lot of faith. Because remember, when we are stepping into something new, it's unfamiliar. And many times when we reach to that place, we're wondering, oh, am I doing the right thing? Is this the place for me? You know, and welcome, Dr. Marcia. Yes, welcome, Dr. Marcia. How are you doing?
I am doing fine. Thank you so much for having me.
Hi, Lady J. How are you guys doing?
Good, excellent. It's such a joy to be with all the energies tonight.
Yeah, because we're stepping higher in faith. Faith is looking up.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Very
And
much
you know, as I was saying, you know, as we step higher, our faith is looking up and transformation, and we go into this because as we step higher, we're stepping with faith, we're going into these different spaces now. And How are we sustaining ourselves when we go into these spaces? What modalities are we using to sustain ourselves? Because as we step high, we got to maintain. As we step higher, we got
That's a
to
good one.
maintain. You know, and
Yeah.
maintaining, it calls for a lot of faith. Because as I said before, we are going into unfamiliar territory. We don't understand what's happening. Sometimes we are stepping higher and we don't even realize we're stepping higher. Because a lot of times we're not even conscious that we're stepping higher. You know, our circles start to change because we're moving on a different frequency now. We start to meet new people, you know, and the thing is that we step higher, but as we step higher, what are some of the things we are telling ourselves as we're stepping higher? Are we honoring the steps when we are stepping higher? What are some of the things that we need to let go, as I said in the opening of the first part? What are some of the things we need to let go as we step higher? What are some of the things we need to take with us as we step higher? Because stepping higher is not only stepping higher. Stepping higher, we have to really do an introspection as we step higher. We got to start shifting things, looking at things, eliminating stuff, and start doing a lot of things need to happen as we make this transition as we step higher. But I'm not going to go more deeper because I need Dr. Marcia to tell us the faith we need when we are stepping. And we need Will also to touch on when we are stepping, what are some of the things that we need to do when we are stepping. Because stepping is great to step, but how you stepping?
That's a good one.
Yeah, stepping is, we all can step, but how are you stepping? You know, are you stepping light or are you stepping heavy? Are you stepping with your light? Are you shining your light as you step? As you go into spaces, are you lighting up that space when you enter that space? Are you bringing that light with you when you enter that space, when you step in to that space? Are you bringing that light with you? But these are some things for you to sit with as you come into step into this space of enrichment of mind, body, and soul today. Sit and ponder as we present this stuff to you this evening about stepping and faith and blessings. Because a lot of times blessings are unfolding in our lives and we really don't take the time to recognize it and to give gratitude. And to give gratitude. Because I am quite sure there is one thing you can give blessing for today. One thing, and that's your breath. As I said before, that is your breath. The air that you breathe in. It's a blessing that you can breathe. It's a blessing that you can walk. It's a blessing that you can talk, you can hear, you can see. There's so many things to be grateful for. And still yet we complain. We always find something to complain about. Something we always find to complain about. Instead of we give gratitude for these little things that we oversight. We just don't look at it as being a blessing. So this evening, just sit back, relax. And if you know someone who can benefit from this podcast this evening, we highly suggest that you share us out. Because remember, we are stepping into 2026, but it starts from now. It starts from this moment. This moment that you live in now, it starts from now. The stepping starts from now. And when you come into this space, it gives you a chance to do some self-reflection. It gives you a chance to ask yourself some questions. How am I stepping? What am I stepping away from? And what am I stepping to? All of these questions we all need to ask ourselves at this point in time in our lives. But I'm not going to take up much more time because we got so much to unpack for you. And don't forget to subscribe. If it's the first time you're joining us, a very special welcome. And don't forget to subscribe, press that notification button that you will never miss none of these episodes, because when you come into this space, you're going to be enriched. When you walk away from this space, there's so many things you're going to walk away with, and you're going to ponder to yourself and ask yourself the questions that you need to ask yourself. So I'm Lady J, Holistic Health, Certified Holistic Health and Wellness Coach, and so many other things. We got 2 books on Amazon, Your Gut in You and Self-Care is Intentional. And we also have a digital magazine and a hard copy magazine. And if you have not subscribed as yet, we highly suggest that you could go in the comments and you can subscribe. And just remember that you're enough, you're special, you're one of a kind. And if you're sitting there, it's time to step and lift your feet up. Lady J, take the mic.
Wow. Truly, truly amazing. Thank you for that amazing opening.
Thank you.
Thanks to Will, and thanks to Dr. Marcia for being here tonight. That's going to really enrich us, because the show name is Enrichment of Mind, Body, and Soul. And so tonight is really truly an enrichment night, because we all will be enriched with everything that we'll be sharing in this space tonight. Where we are in the month of September, things are moving so quickly. We're in a new season. What season are you in your life? And the question I want to ask tonight is, what is awakening inside of you? What is that thing that you're feeling that is stirring inside of you, that is touching you, that you're feeling something, you're feeling that level of pull? What are you feeling? Because the topic we're talking tonight is about stepping and stepping higher. So what is that thing that is within you that is urging you to step higher? What is it? It's stirring inside of you. You're feeling that level of nudge. What is it? Call it a name. Name it. And when you name it with a level of emotion when you're writing it out, whatever that may be for you. Because as you name it, you're adding a level of energy, because it's a level of readiness, and it's also a level of preparedness, because it's preparing you to take that step, to step higher. And we all, at some point in time in our lives, there is something that is urging us. There is something inside of that burning desire that is urging you to step, to move forward. Is it a new level of growth? Is it for a new level of connection? Deeper. Because as you lean into your inner wisdom, and you're drawing something special, because each one of us have that level of uniqueness, that special gift that is within us. And it always comes to a point where it just urges and moves us forward to not to be complacent and stay in our comfort zone, but urges to move forward so that we can live vibrant and be the true version of ourselves. What is it inside of you that is nagging and tugging at you? And sometimes you feel fearful because you're not sure. There's a level of uncertainty, the unknown. The unknown scares us sometimes. But when you have that level of faith, that's why we have Dr. Marcia in the house, and Will, who's going to talk about that faith. That's something that you can trust, a level of sense of knowing that even though I might be afraid, even though I may not understand what is happening, but I'm feeling something inside of me. And I have a level of knowing, and I'm leaning into my inner wisdom. And as I trust and I know, I'm going to embrace that and I'm going to move forward, because there is where you're stepping higher, because you're leaning into that thing, whatever that may be for you. But as we're talking tonight about stepping higher, as we step higher, we have to be grounded and rooted with self-love. We have to be grounded and rooted with self-love, because when we reach to the level and we step higher and we start to attain those praises and achievement, we have to be grounded with self-love, so that appreciation and gratitude that come to us don't sway us, so that we stay center and balance. What are you anchoring yourself with? Because as you step higher, you got to be strong. Are you nourishing and nurturing yourself? How is your self-confidence? How is that for you? And are you focusing on a level of gratitude? Because gratitude is a tool. And if you're focusing on, because whatever space that you move forward into, a level of gratitude is essential. And as we're going to talk tonight about faith, because as you let your faith anchor you and keep you strong, so that you can move through the challenges as you step higher. Okay, you're going to encounter some things because you're moving in a different terrain. But as you be anchored and you be centered and you balance, and you practicing your routine, your morning routine, your nightly routine, to keep you strong. Take strength. Because as you step higher, you're moving into a different level. And you have to, as Lady K spoke about, you have to have something to sustain you, to keep you strong. What is it for you now? So that you step higher, you can bring that along with you, because what you're stepping away from and what you're stepping into must make sense. The reason, your why. What is your why? Why do you want to step higher? Why do you want to step higher? You might be stepping higher because you want to live the true essential self. You want to create an impact in the world. Because as you're tapping into your inner self, you know that I have more to give. Because where I am, I've done enough. But I moved to a level, I've attained new skills. I have greater insights. I have new perspective. My mindset, because mindset is everything. I have a new mindset. So I'm opening up myself for new challenges. I'm meeting new milestones. I'm stepping higher because I want to step higher, because I want to live all in that and live full and bring all in me. And then you also have to show yourself a level of grace. And you must step with intentions. It must be with intentions. And then, as we said, rooted in love. And as you show yourself grace and you're stepping forward, and you might be stepping forward from your circle, from people, show level of grace as well. Because once upon a time, that served you well. But you now decided that you're stepping higher. Because you're reaching for new levels, you're climbing higher. And every time you climb higher, you bring in brighter light. There's a new level of illumination that you bring with you. So tonight, sit back, relax, and think and ponder. What is it that is awakening inside of you tonight? What is it that's stirring inside of you that is moving you to move forward and to step higher? And as we're going to talk about blessings and we're going to talk about faith and all those things, because where you are in life, you want to live the best version of yourself. And so we take all the tools gather all the information that's going to help you to move forward and be your best, live strong, and create the level of impact that you're looking forward in your life for yourself, for your family, and for the outer community. We all are waiting to receive that from you. My name is Lady J, holistic, certified holistic health and wellness coach, and so many other things. But you're in a great space tonight because there is so much we're gonna pour in you because there is no scarcity. There's always abundance here. So we're pouring abundance in you. Sit back, relax, and open yourself up to new information. Open yourself up tonight so that you can know how to, not that you don't know, but be giving you new information. Some of you already know before, but be putting forward new perspective, new insight, so that as we close out 2025 and move into 2026, you can step higher, stronger, believing in yourself, and rooted in that self-love that I spoke about. So, Dr. Marcia and Will, welcome to the space. It's always a true honor to share space with both of you. Karen and I are truly blessed as we're talking about blessings tonight as well.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'd like to hear from Dr. Marcia.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's really good to be here. It has been a little while. I
Right.
was wondering if you guys got rich and switch, but apparently you're still counting your money, so you're not sure how much it is. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I have my copy too, and every now and again I had to pull my copy up. Very
Will,
good.
one is in the mail for you.
Here it is. We talk about faith and we talk about blessing tonight, and I want us to imagine what the worst thing that has ever happened to you, that could have happened to you, that you think you imaginable, that you think you could not get over. And search yourself, really look inside yourself to see what is it that you pulled on. What is it that you pulled on? How did you come through? Because sometimes we don't know how strong we are until being strong is all we have to do, because faith in itself does not, and what I call faith, which is a faith test that allows you to look up, does not serve many persons. It's not a gift that is given to many, because few can take what it really entails to have a faith that makes you look up. Mm-hmm. Because so many of us want to control our lives. I know for one that I love to control the outcome. I love to plan ahead. I like to put myself in order. But faith says, none of that. None of that. And so a lot of times when we are, our back is against the wall, we try to take things into our own hands. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And when I chose the word faith this year, I didn't know where it would take me. Right. And in between, many times I regretted choosing that word faith, because my faith has been tested this year, and tested in every angle, that I know what it means to have my faith look up. And as I said in my launch, when I sat down to write my book, it was when I was at the end of my tether, because my son just got ill, and we are spending money, we are doing tests, and nothing is coming to the fore. And he's getting worse. He's not able to help himself. All of those things. And we just could not get beyond it. Doctors gave up, and at one point the doctor said, "Are you a Christian?" And my son said, "Yes." They said, "Well, you're going to have to pray to God the way you've never, because I'm not treating what I don't know." In fact, we don't know what to treat, because we can't put the symptoms together to know what to treat. That brought me to a crossroads, a serious crossroads, because I'm saying he was a healthy person going about his business. What could have gone wrong? What is it? And we are not getting any answers. And in between that experience, You know, sometimes when you are going through a wilderness experience, everybody knows what you should have been doing and what you should not have done to get you there. And these persons have great planks in their eyes that they can remove so they can see clearly. And these persons expect you to actually understand when their back is against the wall. You're supposed to understand that they have done nothing. And I had to pull on the story of Job. And that became a medicine for me. I formed a group and we began to study the book of Job. And when we spoke and I looked through and we did it, we do it every Friday. We did it until we got to the end of Job. But each chapter, we had persons there who all of us came together because all of us had tests of faith. So we pulled on that community. And when I looked at it, I found out that faith in itself, what we talk about faith, your faith will not be tested unless God can trust you. I know that is a breather. I know that is very shocking for people to take. But when Job got into his test right there, he got into the nitty-gritty of things. He became human. All his friends, he lost every single thing. And even his friends, he said, became miserable comforters. Because in there, they could not understand what was happening. And they needed somewhere to have where they feel was more physical, more tangible, more visible, to blame. But Job said in his chapter, I think it's chapter 27, he said, listen, God, if you check your records, I haven't done anything wrong. I have not done anything that would make it reach a point where everybody forsakes me and people that I have helped are now killing me off. They are ridiculing me. They're treating me like I am nothing. And the thought came to me that if we go back to the beginning, we knew why Job got that test. When the devil went into heaven, for those who don't know the story, there was a meeting in heaven according to this to Job, and the devil appeared in that meeting uninvited and was asked, how come you're in this meeting? He said, I am the God of the earth, so I'm moving up and down the earth, and I have nobody left to actually tempt, because all of the persons that I have tempted them and they have failed. And he said, have you considered my servant Job? So God gave Job to him and he said, but you have hedged him around. He said, okay, I'm going to remove all the hedge, except that you will not be able to take his life. So God knew that he could trust Job. When God can trust you, he doesn't show up immediately. He gives you time to prove him and to prove to others that he can trust you. So if you send your children to the supermarket, for example, you don't drive behind them in your vehicle and you don't go and hide somewhere to see what they would do. You give them the opportunity to go. If you give them a list, or even if you don't give them a list, because they have been with you for so long, you say, okay, look around and look what I need and go and do the shopping. And you trust that they will use their common sense and they will use the skills and the expertise and they will use the patterns and themes that are established in your home to do a good deal. And when they come, if they do a good job, you say, very good job. If you're surprised, you say, I never expected you're better than I am. I didn't even realize that we didn't have this, etc., etc. Because you can trust them. So you don't micromanage and is over their shoulders. And they get better and better at it. That's the case with your faith. When your faith looks up, you actually invite a divine energy. Faith has a divine energy that takes you from where you are to where God intends you to be, where he wants you to be, based on your divine life script, where he has established you to be. The further you are away and the more you want to get to that place, is the greater the journey and the more tiresome the road. Because if you are on your road, there are no detours. But purpose is established with meaning and with clarity and with understanding. Your purpose can be derailed if you pour into the wrong calling. So what you might
That's so beautifully
Repeat
said.
that, Dr. Marcy. Repeat
Say that
that,
again.
Dr.
Say that
Marcy.
again. Say that
your
again.
purpose can be derailed and very derailed if you, and can be put also in default and dormancy if you pour into the wrong calling.
Wow.
What I have found in life is that some persons can go through life up to 70, and it is on their deathbed that they say, on their deathbed, they say, okay, look here, if I had my life to do over, this is what I would absolutely do.
Mhm.
So I want you, those you that I'm leaving behind with my legacy, to start this program for women, single mothers, or to start a scholarship fund to help these children, these young persons, specifically young men who have addictions. And you say, if I had my, some say, if I had my life to live over, I would not have become a doctor. A doctor is a great job. It gave you a lot of accolades. It gave you title and achievement. But this person on their deathbed is saying, listen, you know, when I look at it, know that everything is before me clearly
Right.
and with absolute clarity through a very transparent lens. If I had my life to live over, I would not have become a doctor. I would have become a teacher. And persons sometimes get very upset because people get that moment of clarity. And that moment of clarity comes with a great deal of regret for some persons.
Mm-hmm.
And the regret comes because we never had the faith enough to believe that what we were created to be and the problem we were created to solve had nothing to do with the mother or father or anybody. It had to do with us, our surrender and our obedience. Because no matter what your parents say to you, children are born with unique gifts and it tugs at their heart.
Right.
You know what
Right.
are children's unique gifts? What they do naturally that we find very cute, that is unusual, that is different, and we find it very cute. And so you might find a child very, very young speaks his or her mind very stridently and tell you what they're not doing and stick.
Right.
You might say to them, okay, if you don't do so and so, you will not have any dinner. And they say comfortably, I'm going to bed. And we pull them back out and we say they are rude and I am in charge here. And what do you mean you're going to bed? You gave the child a choice. The child knew what he or she would not actually compromise at any
Right.
point.
Right.
What they
Right.
were not
Right.
willing to give up from the child was 3. But you force the child into what
Mm-hmm.
we call conformity. So the child begins to lose him or herself because the child understands that there are certain things that I will deliverables. There are certain things that will not be exchanged because of the power hierarchy. And so you are my parent, and so I cannot do it at this time. So you say to the child, if you do not go to college and do business, I will not fund it. So the child does business. And at the end of business, the child does not become a businessman because that's not the
Right.
child.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
the child does it. And even if the child starts out for a certain time, the child does not continue because that's not the child's purpose.
Calling.
That
Right.
was
Right.
not
Right.
in the divine life script. It was
Yes.
not in the DNA
Yes.
of that child's purpose and unique gifts. So your unique gifts is what you love to do and what you do naturally. Now, what you love to do sometimes is not what you do naturally either. Because some persons love to sing, but they are not singers. They are not natural singers.
True.
Right.
True. True.
So what you do naturally is what is the inclination that your gifts and your solutions and your prosperity and your peace is really embedded right there, because so many of us are working to survive, but
Right.
they find themselves using their gifts and talents and solving the problems that they are created to solve while they are distracted in their roles. Because some people are good at their roles, but they don't understand their purpose. And so you might find a secretary in an office, and that secretary sits in that office, and everybody comes. The secretary is able to hear their story of betrayal, of heartbreak, of loss, of restlessness. And that secretary gives that's not her job, that's not her role, but that secretary gives that advice. If she pays attention, she realizes that that is what she loves to do, and she realized that she must transition that into her proper calling and into a proper purpose. So listen, you can either stay where you are and carry out your purpose along with the other gifts, because your purpose breeds profits and give you different gifts. Your one talent, your unique gift, when you use it properly and the way God organized it to do and move out in faith, then it lifts you. It doesn't drag you down, and it multiplies, because purpose is service, and it is not service to self. It is service to others. Purpose, every one of us, regardless of our purpose, has one common role, one common destination: to serve others with what we have been given, to solve the problems that we are created to solve, and to help the people we are created to help. So we are sent to the world, but we are not sent to everyone.
That's a good one. That is so
Good.
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 We're sent to the world, but not for
We are not sent
everyone.
to everyone.
Mm.
And
That's
so some of us can serve many others, because as we teach people to become masters of their own destiny, which is the fulcrum of faith, when your faith lifts up and you're looking up and it carries you towards your purpose. How does it do that? Faith is the evidence of things not seen.
Yes.
And so once we go through the mandate of understanding where we are resting and why we are resting, it pulls us into the package of getting clarity. Now, you actually get true clarity when you have no other voice but the voice of desperation. Desperation forces you to look inward and up, not out, because you get to a desperate place when all of who you think would be there for you are no longer there.
Right.
All of your gifts and talents are not working. All of your efforts seem to be stuck. You seem to be marking time on a treadmill and you're not going anywhere. That promotion is not coming. That breakthrough is not there. That deliverance is not coming. You are hedged in so you can look up. And when you get to that place and your faith is ignited to believe in something that you cannot see,
Right.
you now have to wait on who will deliver that. And you have to wait on his time and his season, because nothing that you do will break that barrier, because God will never put you into something that you are not prepared for. And many times we remain where we are because we are not going through the preparation season well. We are trying to take things into our hands. We are trying to control the outcome. We are trying to rush God, and God doesn't work on our timetable. And God does not give you what you're not ready for, because sometimes it's not the gift is the problem. The gift, God has the gift wrapped and placed somewhere, but you are not ready. You are not humble enough. You are not honest enough. You don't have enough gratitude because you are a complainer and you murmur morning, noon, and night. You make everybody know that you are disgruntled in your workplace and that the promotion that you should have gotten 40 years ago was given to Paul and not you. In the meantime, you are not worse off. Your bills are being paid. And those who got the promotion that you felt your navel string was cut on are so frazzled and uncomfortable, but you're not paying attention to that. You do not see that God saved you and is preparing you for something else, but he cannot give it to you because he cannot use you because you are empty.
Okay.
Very empty.
I like that.
You're
And
empty.
empty doesn't mean that you are not qualified for the job and
Right.
that you don't have the expertise and the experience. Empty means that you lack the wisdom and discernment to do the assignment that is going to be such a great and heavy assignment, and it's going to require you to let go of yourself and serve others wholeheartedly and unconditionally. And your pride will not allow you to do that at this time. Your complaining will not allow you to do that. Your idea that you know more than everybody else is not going to help you, because in the mission of serving, you're going to have to listen. And if you know everything, you're not going to be listening. And so we many times keep ourselves stuck. We keep ourselves stuck by our fear and our lack of faith, our idea that we must always be in control. This thing to let go of control. Let me tell you something. When faith is magnified in us and our passion is ignited and we align that to our purpose, there is a lot of uncertainty. We don't know how this great mission is going to be accomplished. So those who are sure about what God has given them always say to you, but I'm not sure how I'm going to accomplish it, but I know that's what I'm going to be doing. And when they come through, they say, if someone told me 5 years ago that I would be the CEO of a multi-million organization, I would laugh at them. But here it is. I got the vision and I started in my garage and I was rejected 27 times at the bank. Nobody believed in the dream. Nobody took it up. And then a friend somewhere along the line, I spoke with them and they put their house, mortgaged their house or took equity out of it to start me on the road. And the rest is history. A lot of people have those stories because their faith looked up. Because when you look up, God gives you the messages and you receive something that can scare you and keep you awake at night because it nags at you. It seeps into your soul and it won't let you go.
Okay.
It won't let you go. And you know that it is something that God has given you because it's not popular. And when I say not popular, it can be simply starting a patty shop because you have unique gifts of baking. You do it well. You do it so natural. You don't know where you got the gift from, but you have it. And somewhere along the line, you say, I should start an enterprise where I sell patties of all kinds and types. You'll sell ackee patties. You'll do those unusual patties that people don't have. And guess what? Everybody you took the dream to laugh at you. And so everybody's selling patty. They make no difference. But it won't let you go. It won't let you go. It won't let you go. And when somebody, because let me tell you what God does. Whenever he gives you a dream, he makes sure that you understand it before he sends you out.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you will be tested by all of these persons. And if it is ratified in you, you won't let it go either. Because you hold on to it, it means that the divine energy in the universe begins to, which is God, begins to approve you, begins to place divine favor on you, begins to show you the path and begin to put people in place that just perch down, do things for you and move along. I have known of persons who say, I was on my way to so and this person, I wanted to buy a car and I got into the car mart and everything and the money and the man just gave me for 4,000 US less.
Yes.
And I've never seen that man again. Have you ever heard person tell you those types of stuff?
Yes.
Yes.
Because you moved out in faith.
Yes.
You moved out in faith and you say, God, you said you were going to give me this car. So let's see what happens. When you go in there, you say, boy, I had saved. I had done what I needed to do. I wanted to put the money together, but here it is. And in the process, the person says to you, no, that's fine. I'm going to do something. I feel moved to do something.
Right, exactly.
I don't know you, but I just feel moved. God came on the spot and said, okay, this is the first step. And then guess what happens? Something comes up again and your faith begins to stagger. You begin to doubt yourself. You begin to doubt God. You begin to wonder. And God reminds you. Do you remember when I gave you that car?
Yeah.
Remember how I gave it to you? And you grab back your faith. You grab back your faith. You hold on to your faith. And you breathe in faith and you exhale fear. and you say, God, here am I, I'm willing, use me now. What's the next step? And the next step is that somebody calls you to say, look here, there is somebody that is had a building, they have suddenly gotten very ill, and they want to give it to somebody that has a dream. The person wants somebody who will do business, but will use their unique skills and get into the place. And here it is, you get a room, you get this place, and you're saying it can't be anybody else but God. But guess what? You get into the space and you say, boy, I don't have the first cent to furnish it. What am I going to do? How am I going to get the equipment? I think I must have been crazy. I'm going to leave it right there. And for months, you make no move, but God has given you everything. And the individual who spoke to you and told you about the man says to you now, but the place is out there and they are saying they're going to have to find somebody else because you are not ready for the place. And you say to them, I don't know where I would get the first equipment. And they say to you, the man has equipment that he wants to give you, but you never asked. So for 4 months, you're out there, you languish and you complain, and you never said to God, show me who is to give me the equipment. Because you see, faith is the evidence of things hoped for and not seen. Substance of things hoped for and not seen. That's why it is called faith. And that is why it is the opposite of fear. That is why it lifts you up and not drags you down. That is why it requires obedience and surrender. And that is why it requires foresight, and it also requires patience, because God acts in his time. Discernment is extremely important, because sometimes in our faith journey, as I have explained in this book, between the betrayal, the pain, the helplessness, sometimes hopelessness, the uncertainty, the silence of God, we try to hurry things for ourselves. Desperation can make us bargain our faith, our opportunity, our vision, our ambition away. We settle for what we were never intended to settle for, because we did not wait, and we could not. We felt that somewhere along the line, the waiting, and I call it a heavy weight. I say the waiting is pressure filled in the same book. The waiting is filled with pressure. Pressure filled. The waiting is not easy. And the weight of waiting can push us into greater dormancy and derail our purpose and our destiny much longer, because we make choices that are not in God's plan, and we have to keep starting over, because every time we don't show up with faith, we show up with fear, and fear does not take us anywhere. And the greater the level of fear, it is the greater measure of faith that is needed. And so the more we pull into fear, is the more faith pulls at us, but it's harder to reach us, because fear is blocking the door. And so how do you overcome that? How do you look up? You first and foremost have to accept the things that you can't change. And that's what a lot of us don't want to do. We have to accept the things that we cannot change. And in accepting it, we get different messages. So I had a lot of things happening, a lot of disappointments. Life became a little overwhelming. And I was on my job, and I gave that story at the front of my book. I was on my job, and I was going to observe some teachers in training. So they send you to the different locations where they are placed, and I was to look at those. And as I was on my way through a rural area, which persons are hard to get vehicles at certain times of the day, I picked up a lady, but I never knew her. And she came into I was a little, in going to the site, I spoke to God, and I said to him, this is becoming more than I can bear. You have to do something. You promise. I pulled on these promises, because I'm a Christian and so on. And I spoke with him, and I said, okay, just show me that you're still there. And do you know that I picked up this lady out of the blue, very middle-aged lady in her 60s, and she came into my vehicle, and she had such a strong spirit, and she spoke. There are some old people who they meet you and they talk with you and they just begin to tell you stories and so on, and you laugh and chat with them. And when that lady began to tell me her life story and the many issues that she had, she lost her 3 children, and so she had 3 boys. She lost one through gone. He was in the wrong place, meaning he went to shop and there was somebody breaking into the place and fired shots, and he was in the bank and he was shot in the back and he died. That's her first child. And then the other 2 were going out one day and they crashed and the 2 of them died. And in the process of burying them, the husband collapsed in the funeral and died. And she's telling me these stories and I'm saying in my mind, oh, no, she's talking the truth. Mark, I know because I've lost members of my family, but it became so imaginable. And she said when she got out there, her family members, the man's family, they had built their house on the family property. So she married him, had a good time with him, lived for years with him, with her children. They grew up, they became adults, but they had built a house on the family land. And when the husband died, they turned her off the property. The house that she and her husband worked very hard to build, they turned her off the property. Of course, she would go to court and so. But when she finished telling me her story, I said, God, I'm so grateful that you did not favor me in that way. I am so grateful. It changed my mind. And I said, I'm going to trust you. God, I'm going to trust you.
Yeah.
I don't have half of what she's going through. And you know what she said? In everything, that's a part of it that touched me that day and gave me a different look. Because she said, I said, Miss Soho, some persons would have been angry and bitter. She says, in all circumstances, I give God thanks. Wow. Because it could be worse. In all circumstances. I said, Miss, then what could be worse than those? She said, but it's still a circumstance and I am still here. I am here for a reason.
Yeah.
And the moment she said it, I said, then what is my reason? Because she's an old woman. She does not see any way out, but she's just thanking God that she's still here. She has a little roof over her head because somebody has her at the place. She says she thank God that she actually can go to court. She thank God that he is going to work it out, and whatever way he works it out, she's going to be content because in all of that, you have to be content. She had the faith. And that's the type of faith I wanted. And I said it in my book, not the type that compared myself with others, not the type that feel that other people were getting ahead of me, not the type. I didn't want to be stuck in any situation where I begin to feel that somebody's fortune should be mine. True. That's not it. So it gave me that frame of mind to say every one of us gets our unique challenge.
Yeah.
Our unique moment of discomfort, our unique moment of loss, our unique moment of betrayal. Listen to what I'm saying, because sometimes I think we want to miss it. It's not that, Karen, you get your unique moment of loss and you get your unique moment of betrayal, Will. At each stage of our lives, from our birth until our time out of this earth, every one of us gonna have a moment of loss, a moment of disappointment, a moment of betrayal, a moment of helplessness, a moment of change, a moment of discomfort. We're gonna have it. But what the faith shows us is that God gives you what is yours, and he does not take what is yours, Will, and give it to me.
Right.
So you might be able to lose 4 members of your family and keep standing. I might not be able to do that. I can only lose 1. So he gives me 1, but he gives you 3 right behind each other, because he knows that you will be able to stand. You might not lose a job, Lady J, because he knows that that is going to shift you up the wrong way. But you might find that you lose a husband because he knows that you can bear that. And he might just let Lady K lose her job because he knows that Lady K has the resilience to say, I will move. I'll take it in stride and I will move on. So I just want us to understand it. But each of us gonna get our different crucible, because guess what happened about faith? The moment you pass the first leg of the journey where your faith is tested, the test gets harder.
True. Right.
So those who feel that is gonna get it's gonna ease off. The test gets harder.
Yeah.
Because for you to reach the pinnacle where you have what I call unconditional faith, everything that can be shaken in your life will be shaken.
Will be.
True.
Will be
Will
shaken.
be.
So when you get to that place of unconditional faith, nothing can disturb your peace of mind anymore. Nothing can steal your joy. Nothing can steal your conviction in God and in his promises. And nothing can make you doubt that he's not working for your good. Nothing.
Right. Right. That's so true. That is so true. That is
Yes.
so true.
Yes. Wow.
Because but that you're so rooted.
Yeah.
You're so rooted, so nothing don't sway you.
Yeah.
It takes
Because
time
it
to get
grounds
there,
you.
though.
Once you come through with the first one, you have that as a foundation to remember.
Your foundation.
So the moment you come to the second, you remember how God has led you in the past.
Yes.
And
yes.
you know that you will overcome this. And people say that. You actually say that. When I look back at where I'm coming from, I
Right.
actually, I'm not gonna make this throw me. Because guess what? Sometimes the test that you are coming out of and not even have time to reconcile before you go into another test.
Right.
It's sometimes milder than the first test, but because you were pushed into the next test,
Right.
you don't realize that the test you're coming out of is a preparation for this test. So you're coming out of a hurricane and you're going into a storm. You're not really going into a tsunami. You're just going into a storm because you're coming out of a hurricane. But the adjustment was you didn't get sufficient time to adjust. And so it grounds you for a while. It staggers you for a while. It disturbs you for a while. But then you sit down and say, but wait a minute. I didn't think that I could bear that. So
Right.
okay, let me settle down. That change, begin to look up now, you know. So that change in mindset and puts you into a warrior mindset where you say, I will overcome this.
I will overcome.
Also. Yes, I will overcome this also. The next thing that you need when you need to have your faith looking up, and I placed it right here too, is a strength, a community of strength. Persons who have overcome.
Right.
A community of overcomers.
Overcomers.
Yes, the overcomers tell the story and tells it very well from an authentic place. And the overcomer carries you fumbling through the dark into light. So the overcomer stretches you. Look at that. So the overcomer says to you, you will not give up. This is mine. This too will pass. So they stretch you. So you begin to form and get into the mold of what you need, the mindset and the spirit speaking in unison to say, you got this. But somebody says it to you. So let's look at it. You might find that you have lost somebody, a great member of your family. Like when I lost my mother. You don't feel that you can get over it. So you stay in bed, you avoid work and so on. But here comes a good friend. Pull your curtains, open your door, pulls you into the bath, sprays you with the shower and say, we are going out today. I'm taking you out today. Yeah. You need those types of persons that will stretch you and will not take no for an answer.
Right.
You need the other person also who will support you with the truth. Support you, but they are supporting you with the truth, because some of us don't like to hear the truth.
True.
When we're in a vulnerable place. So this person says, you know, you are at fault and you really cause it upon yourself, but you're not gonna stay here. We are gonna learn our lesson and we're gonna move forward. So tell me the lessons that you have learned. Of course, you're gonna be pulled, kicking and screaming. So, but you need that person that will pull you, because the person who pulls you is the person that supports you with the truth. And so the person says, these are your issues. You are really in debt and you have cashed out your credit card because you like to buy expensive handbags that you are not using. So you're gonna sell them and start paying those bills. And so you're gonna let go of those things. Or the person says to you, what did you do that ignited the wrath of so and so that you're now complaining about? Because I know that you're a stubborn person and that you will stick to the point and you will. So you need that person that will pull you.
Yes.
and they pull you with the truth. They are there supporting you, you know. So
Yeah.
even though the person is telling you what you are not hearing, the person is saying, I am here because I am gonna stick with you through the thick and the thin, but we are gonna stick with the truth. We're gonna face the reality and we're gonna make the changes that you need to improve you and to add value and to change the
Right.
situation, that you don't get into
Right.
this situation again. So
Again.
you need somebody to stress you, to stretch you, and you need somebody to pull you. You also need someone to pray with you and over you. You know, sometimes when we are in our overwhelming season, that wilderness, that dark place, that back against the wall, you sometimes, if you're a believer, you can't even pray. You don't know what to tell God.
Right.
Yeah.
You're so tired. You don't know what to tell
Yeah.
him. You need somebody that will come to pray with you
Yes.
and pray over you and pray for you. You need that spiritual mentor, somebody that believes in the person that is at the end of faith, because God is at the end of faith. It's not man, it's not provision, it's God. So whatever he supplies is what you're gonna need. And so you need somebody that pulls you into that direction so you can actually look up. The next person that you need, that many persons don't understand, is that you need somebody to just be there.
Yes.
Not
Yes.
pushing you, not stretching you, not
Yes.
praying over you, not nothing. But that person always shows up. Might just be silent too, you know, but always shows up. So they come and they say to you, all right, I'm here. If you need to reach out to me,
Right.
I'm
Right.
here. They are very silent though, you know, but if you need to reach out, I just want you to know that they are here. We call
Yeah.
those foundation or pillars. We call them foundation or we call them pillars. They're not moving, but they are
Mhm.
not reaching out for you unless you call on them, because
Right.
they
Right.
don't want to push you. They want you to move when you are ready. Because sometimes when we are trying to build our faith, we go into a stillness moment, a pause moment where we begin to search ourselves. We call that self-awareness. We
Mm-hmm.
begin to see how we trigger people, and we begin to see what triggers us. We begin to understand it, and we begin to frame it, and then we now develop what we call a compelling vision, which pulls us into an internal alignment, and then we begin to develop our strategy or take the strategic actions that will pull us out. And those strategic actions might involve now reaching out to the person that will pull us because we realize that we need to be pulled, or we reach
Mhm.
out to the person that will stretch us because we realize that we need to be stretched, or we pull out, we just foster the person who will tell us the truth. And I find that sometimes persons come to me and they say, I come to you because you will tell me the truth. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I feel very honored because not everybody likes that. But I find
Right.
that persons in their desperation, a lot of persons come and they say, I come to you. They call me Sister Helene in my church community and so on. They say, I come to you because no matter what, you will tell me how you see it. You will tell me how you really see it objectively and with a lot of love. And I like that about me because I tell myself the truth also. I
True.
really tell myself the truth. So if I'm
Yes.
afraid, I say today I'm very afraid. And I say sometimes I say to God, I don't know why I'm fearful because you have been so faithful. But
Yeah.
but I faith became my word because I found that worry was kind of befriending me, and I don't like to have friends like that. So I found that life pushed me to a point where I was no longer certain of anything, very uncertain, and I wanted to know, double check and understand, because sickness does that to you, whether it is of a loved one or so. And spending funds that you find you thought you had that just diminish before your eyes, and then not seeing the way out, can cause persons to have fear. But guess what? I am giving you those examples because faith is what changes the game. Faith has divine energy. So the moment you find that you are losing everything, it's because God is clearing the pathway for all the things that you never needed, that you thought you needed. And a lot of persons went through that, what would I call it, catharsis, because in COVID, when persons couldn't go out as often as they want, they found that all their jackets and their ties and their shoes and stockings and so was of no use. And they found that they could actually do without
Yeah.
it. They found that they could actually do without it. When no visitors were able to come to their house, they are now saying that I have too many plates and cups. That's the reality.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so
Yes.
there were persons who now say, I should be doing more. And so a lot of persons came out of the COVID helping persons who they would never have helped. Family members who they would have never given a second thought, reaching out to persons who they had issues with that they now felt that they need to reconcile it because life has become too short. And there were a lot of persons who reached out to say, I've never taken a vacation. No, I am putting aside everything and I'm choosing me. And they go on a vacation because that was a wake-up call. Life is so uncertain that you must enjoy it at the pace at which it must be. And sometimes it is too late for some people. Sometimes it is too late because we don't exercise self-love. Because you see, faith recognizes and love self. You know what faith does? Make you believe in yourself and your gifts. So the moment you believe in God, the moment you reach up and look up, you believe in that God who fearfully and wonderfully made you and who says everything that you need, I've given you. It's at your disposal. So now who is you reach for the things at your disposal. You reach for the things nearest to you. And because you're using up the space, it is taking you to the things that are far away from you. Because you're using up. You start with the things that are near to you. And so that's part of looking up. You understand that nothing that you have is because of you. Your 2 eyes, how much did you pay for them? Nothing. You discover that. Sometimes you didn't pay anything for it. If God decides to take his ear, you would not be here complaining. So you recognize and appreciate life for what it is and what life has given you. And you begin to use it. Not as the man with the one talent, but the one who had more than one. So you now say, okay, I am good at this and I love doing this. I'm going to start. I'm going to start where I am and I'm going to float. And you find that you move from your doorway and you get into that corridor. And you move from the corridor, you get into the elevator. And you move from the elevator and you get downstairs in the lobby. And you move from the lobby and you get out on the street. And you are wondering how you got to the park because you began to take the move. And the more you exercise faith is the more space it needs. Because it gives you profit, it lifts you, and it carries you forward. Faith does not carry you back, it takes you forward into a space that begins to lift you. And a lot of us don't understand that we need that community that we are talking about and those different types of persons in our community to pull us. The next thing that faith does, it clears our emotional attic. You see that emotion that we have, the stored frustrations and the built up of fear and the broken pieces and the pain and the trauma and so on. Faith eliminates that because faith makes you forgive those who have actually contributed, because faith makes you realize that it's not worth it.
That's beautiful.
So you see, faith, and that's why I say faith has divine energy. And that's why I say no matter what happens, we must look for the lessons. And find the lessons by looking up. And so as we move through that emotional attic, we go through and we search the spaces where they are hidden, the things that are hidden in us, that clutter us, that brings us down, that drives the doubt, that drives the fear, that says to us, I am not good enough, that says to me, I can't forgive that, or says to you, I will not be able to overcome that, or I am not willing to change, or I need more time. Faith makes you see the value of the shortness of time. And faith makes you shed those things that are not assisting you in any way, not carrying you, not pulling you, not stretching you, not growing you, those things. And so when you begin to have faith in God, he makes you know that those things were just fluff. Those were just the igniters. Those were just the fertilizer. Those were just the water to make you grow and develop. You can either remain stuck or you can stay stuck. Let me explain what I mean. Remain stuck and stay stuck might seem to be the same, but they are very different. Because remain stuck means that you actually can be in awe, or you can be in pain, or you can take a little moment to get over your betrayal, or your hurt, or your loss, or your change, your divorce, your transition, whatever it is. You might be in awe, you might be thrown back a little, you might be taken off guard. that is, you remain. You look for a moment for this period of time that you need to get over it. But when you stay stuck, it's because you know make those things take up permanent residence in your life and in your circumstances. So there are many of us who at a point we remain stuck. We are either in awe or in fear or in wonder or in confusion or uncertainty. But we choose not to remain there. So we don't stay there. We pass through.
Like that.
Yes.
You pass through.
So there are some things that we need to pass through. And guess what? If we go back to the Bible, it is everything that we need to pass through, because the Bible says in Ecclesiastic, to everything there is a season. And a time for everything under the sun. So it means that none of us should be remaining in any season. We can't linger in the season
because
don't
linger.
That it is our purpose. Very much so. We need to pass through the season. And in passing through the season, we are not to actually hang on to things that God has pried out of our life. God pried some things out of our life.
Say that again. Say that again.
I'm not letting it go. And Lord, I am not letting it go. So there are some relationships that are not working for us, whether it is friendship, whether it is family, whatever. But we are hanging on to it because we feel that it is a lifeline. And you know what it does? Drag us down, takes our peace, rob us of our peace, and gives us sleepless nights. The moment we decide that we are going to create that boundary and we are going to say no, and we are going to put a stop to it. And we are going to make you see yourself. We pull people and we free people. Because sometimes, you see these people that we hang on to, we are holding them hostage.
Yes.
Wow.
How do we hold them hostage? We are always there for them. Always there for them. So let me tell you what they do. They continue to get themselves in trouble and take chance and take risks because they have it. So they can't grow. They can't move from where they are. And they can't develop into practical, accountable human beings because of you. You who feel that you are helping and you are serving and you're always there for them, but you actually hold them hostage because they would have changed your lives and changed your path if you were not always there picking up the slack. And so we need to understand those types of things, and we can't be support groups for those things because persons must begin to have faith in themselves. And the moment they're there for them, they are not able to test themselves to see what they can produce. And we hinder our children in many ways in that way. And we hinder our family members, and we hinder our partners, and we hinder ourselves. Because we constantly complain that we have to be showing up for them at all times. And they host and they are not doing this and they are not doing that. But who has given them the chance? We have not. Because we feel that we must be there for them at all times. And sometimes we must be there for ourselves.
Wow.
So we want to understand that part of it, because being there for yourself is not selfish. Knowing when you are being taken for granted is not selfish.
It's self-care.
Knowing when you're self-care. Knowing when you're taken for granted, you must not be mistaken for appreciation, because there are persons who will take you for granted, but they act as if they appreciate you because they know what it is in there for them. And you know, because the clues are there, it's just that because we don't have faith, we refuse to see it. Because there are two ways that we can miss faith. We don't have faith in ourselves. We don't believe in ourselves.
Right.
And we don't have faith in God and that He has the best for us. When we don't believe in ourselves, we cling to things that give us, that we feel give us fulfillment.
Right.
It's really what we feel give us fulfillment. And jobs, people do that with their jobs. There are some persons who God has pride out of their job. They're not getting the promotion and they are not being valued or appreciated. But for some reason, they have gotten many opportunities and they refuse to leave because in their minds, they are planted there. That's the dream job for them. But God says that's not where I want you. So God wants to relocate you. But you remain stuck right there because you don't have faith in Him. And as a result, you end up not having faith in yourself. So you allow persons to take you for granted, and you allow the abuse, and you allow the unhappiness and the restlessness and the lack of fulfillment and joy. And you go home every day and you complain and you murmur, and you wish you could change, and you say you wish they would change your boss because you're thinking that if all of that is done, then you will get what you want. But God says, I'm changing 10 boss there and you're still not getting the promotion because I have a job somewhere else for you.
Exactly.
And so you are constantly agitated and you're blaming God and you're praying and your prayer is not being answered because you're asking amiss. God has answered the prayer many times, but because that's not what you want, you tend to ignore it. And I want to give an example. There was a situation with a lady, Christian lady, too, who had 3 suitors in the church, but the one who was most interested in her, she said, that couldn't be the person that you have for me, God, because you know that I want somebody with these characteristics. So she went to a church sister, and the church sister said, okay, we're going to fast and pray, and we're going to ask God to give us a sign. So the sister said to her, and this is a true story, we're going to look at, remember that it has to be an unusual sign. So it was a little drought period, you know, in the Caribbean, sometimes we have a little drought period. So she says, you're going to go into fasting, and you're going to put these 3 names into a bottle. And you're going to tell God that you want rain to fall. And for those of us who are in the Caribbean who understand it, when it falls, it must be so tumultuous that hail must fall along with it. And she fasted and prayed, and she placed the names in a bottle. And a few days after, rain fell heavily, flooded out places, and hail fell. And so she pulled the name out of the bottle. And when she pulled the name out of the bottle, it was the name that she did not want. And she said, God, you must be crazy. After I go through fasting and prayer, and I asked you to give me a sign, you give me back the same person. And she did not marry the person. She went on to marry the second person and ended up divorcing. It was a very physical relationship in that he abused her physically.
Wow.
Yeah, very domestic in relation to how he felt and would not appreciate her, somebody of great value. And in the end, the person that she mistook ended up helping her, but had moved on into another relationship that was very fulfilling also, because God, you know, sometimes give you, when he has a plan for your life and the plan is altered, he does not treat you how you deserve many times. He gives you another chance. And so the man was not at fault, so God gave him a perfect partner. But God, he was in a position where he was the one who assisted her out of her situation and helped her to build back her life with the help of his wife, who in fact was a counselor.
Wow.
She was a good friend. The wife was a counselor, so the wife took her through the trauma of the narcissistic relationship and pulled her out. And she set herself on her way. Of course, for some reason, she didn't remarry. But she went on to live a wholesome life and take care of her 2 children that she had with this man as a single mother. And her 2 children ended up doing very well. So sometimes God takes us out of situation, but because we no longer believe in ourselves and we tie ourselves to visit things that are visible.
Right.
The things that the evidence of the things we cannot see. We limit ourselves and keep ourselves stuck right where we are. The next thing that we have is the core values. What are the core values of belief? Because if you don't believe in prayer, because prayer fuels faith. Meditation fuels faith.
Yes.
Yeah.
Silence fuels faith, because if you're silent, you will hear what God is saying. So what is your core value? Is your core values that you will not wait, that you must control things, that you must not accept what you cannot change? Because let me explain what I mean. And sometimes we take up affirmations that in themselves, if your core value is believing in a higher power, a higher source, does not match. So there are some persons who tell you that you must try and try and try and try and try again. And you must continue trying, because at some point it will come through. But there are some points where God says to you, don't try. You're not supposed to be trying here. This is not where you are supposed to try. Yeah. So you feel that determination will take you to where you're to go, when God gives you several signs to say, this is a different road. You're not to take this road. So everywhere you go, every time you make this move and get more determined, you'll come up to a roadblock. But because you have not taken the time to evaluate what is really the signs and the messages and the lessons, you keep missing the point.
Yes.
And determination is not working for you, because it's not determination you need, is wisdom and clarity.
Yes.
So determination. So you keep putting everything into a basket. You keep putting water into a basket. And it can't be. So I want us to get it in our heads that when you have faith, determination is not what comes from that type of faith. It is purpose.
Yes.
So purpose now tells you when to act, when to wait, when to change, when to move forward.
Yes.
Not determination. Because when your faith is looking up, you are looking for answers. And if the answers say you are to wait, then it is patience that comes from that looking up. If it says to you, you are to change course, it is purpose that comes from that. From that faith looking up. If it says to you, you are to remain where you are, then it is clarity that comes from looking up. So we want to understand that when you look up, the answers come, but you must be ready for the answers, and your mind must be so open for the answers.
Yes.
So I have also indicated in my book that you have to nourish your soul.
Yes.
For your faith to remain intact and for you to get clarity that keeps you enough to leave a legacy.
Right.
You must actually be right, steadied, and focused. So your soul must be nurtured. So you hear
Steady
from
and focus.
and I give some examples in the book. If you notice, I give you the prayer, I give you the informational quotes, and I ask very important questions. And that's why I say delay doesn't mean denial.
Deny.
When God tells you to wait, it is very hard. What happens when God tells you to wait? Not to plan, not to build, not to move, just wait. What happens? What do you do? It feels like a fog. It feels like a fog. But it looks like a fog if you don't open yourself to hear something.
Right.
Right.
Because when your faith is looking up, it means you're focused, you're intentional, and you're listening.
Right.
You're listening. And there is expectancy, but there is not fixation. So you don't fix your mind on just one thing. You are now saying, God, what is it that you want me to change? What is it that you want me to let go of? What is it that you want me to embrace? Those are the three things that you're asking when your faith looks up. What should I change? What do you want me to embrace? What do you want me to change? Because your faith looking up is just not simply moving like that.
Wow.
It's not just looking up.
Yeah.
Not just a looking up. It is more than a looking up.
Hi,
It's
Dr.
a
Ross.
seeing and an understanding.
Mm.
Wow.
Dr. Marcia. Oh my goodness. This was so enriching.
That's good.
It was really, really enriching. Really enriching. You know, because you have outlined the word faith. And you really help us to understand that faith, you have to set the foundation
Of course.
for faith.
Yeah.
Because if the foundation is not solid, you really can't stand there. And you cannot understand the word faith. Because in spite the word, you see the word faith is a huge word. And I like when you said faith is an energy. Because it's indeed an energy that we all need when circumstances arise in our life. You know, and the thing is that many times we really can't see when things are unfolding in our lives because we don't understand the word faith. Because things are unfolding, but because what we are holding on to, we can't see that things are working for our good. We see things that are unfolding as negative and not realizing it's happening for our good. So that is why we really got to understand the things that are happening in our lives and what it's shifting us to. So we really got to pay attention how we're looking at things, which lens we're using to look at things that are unfolding in our lives. I really like when you share the story with Job, because that is such a beautiful story to help us to understand what is faith and why we go through certain things in our lives, because we are chosen to go through certain things in our lives. And many times we cannot understand that. We question these things because we don't understand what's happening. But if we can just step back and look at what is happening and see it is happening for our good, we will understand that it's taking us somewhere. And in order for us to move from one phase of our lives or from one chapter of our lives to move to another chapter, I like when you talk about preparation. We got to be prepared, and for the preparation is the experiences that we need to go through to prepare for the next chapter, the next phase in our lives. But we don't want to go through the preparation stage. We just want to arrive at that next place in our life. If you're going to show up at the next phase in your life, what are you bringing to that phase? You don't understand nothing about it. So you got to be prepared for where you're going. In order to be prepared, you got to go through these different tests. That's the preparation stage to take you to the next stage of our lives, because you're stepping higher. And in order to step higher, you got to understand the climate here. If you don't understand the climate here, how are you going to climb to another altitude? You got to understand the preparation that's happening here right now. What experience you're going through. Understand that climate. Understand it's a season. And once you understand that phase, you're able to climb up. Look, for instance, when you enter an airplane, the airplane don't just make zoop and gone right up. It climbs different altitude before it get to the right altitude now to take you. It don't just make one zoop and go up. Look at that, for instance. It different altitude, it climbed. Different altitude, it climbed. So it's the same thing with our lives. We got to understand these different phases that we need to go through in order for us to step higher. Dr. Marcia, you really outlined some beautiful points here this evening, and it's all helping us to understand as we step higher, we got to step with faith. We got to have a solid foundation that we are stepping on, because where we're going, God is preparing us for something bigger, And sometimes we don't even understand the magnitude where God is taking us. We don't even understand the magnitude of the shift that is happening in our lives. Right, Will?
That's right. Absolutely right. I was going to ask Dr. Marcy, are all of these points that you brought out in your speech there, are they in the book? Okay.
Yes, they're in this book, My Faith Looks Up. So we look at, it's very much in the book, and it is detailed in the book like that. And you have the finding your faith and God's purpose in the wilderness. We look at the weight of waiting. We look at, and the thing I have put in the book that is personal to me, and that's why so be the size of my book, is that I give you a personal reflection page. So you write
that's beautiful.
what you're thinking, then you answer the question. So how you build the foundation of faith, who is holding you. We go through drawing near, developing a deeper relationship with your faith, and also, and you have personal stories that carry you through, that is really embedded in leadership, but leadership in relation to your home. If you're leading in your home as adults in your home, in your community, and so how you walk in faith and purpose after you discern God's will for your life, those types of things, how you keep the faith, how you build faith amid uncertainty and adversity. And I also talk about navigating the crossroads of your calling with faith, and how you walk the tightrope, balancing your faith, your family, and your calling, how you leave a legacy, those types of things.
You know what? I really
Go ahead.
like chapter 7 when it says, when
Okay.
faith pours out, serving from what you carry. Serving from what you carry. That is so beautiful put together, Dr. Marcy. So beautiful put together.
Yeah.
I love it.
Serving from what you carry.
Serving from what you carry. Yes. Serving
Yes.
from what you carry. Yes.
So I say that faith that moves mountain is living your faith out loud.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
The
yes.
question you have on the screen there before you just changed it, that was a good question.
Somebody
Yes.
asking a question?
Yes. Well, it has
If
the
your faith stood on 4 pillars,
Yeah.
what would they be? All right. So if my faith actually, one of the greatest is I look at trust. Trust and belief is very important.
Yes, I
That's
had
a
a word about
foundation that
belief.
you have
Yes,
to have.
yes.
You have to trust
Yeah.
in what you cannot see, in the unseen.
Thank
What is
you.
it that
Thank you.
Thank
can't
you.
Thank you.
see?
Thank you for that.
You have to move in that direction. So trust and belief is important. And I tie them together
Very important.
because it is your belief
Yes.
that organizes your mindset, and you keep
Exactly.
focus on the outcome. Because if you don't believe that it is possible, then it will not be.
Not be possible.
Exactly.
And if you believe
Exactly.
that with God all things are possible, you will wait. And the wait will not be pressure filled, because you're waiting on God and His time and His season, and you're trusting His wisdom. The next foundation pillar for me, apart from trust, if I'm to look at it, is obedience. I must begin to hear what God is saying, because it has nothing to do with me. If I'm trusting that God knows best, I must be surrendered. And surrender means that I obey Him fully. I don't try to defend what He puts to me. I try to understand it. So surrender and obedience would be my next pillar. And I pair them together, because when you are surrendered, you become obedient. You
Yeah.
cannot be
Yes,
obedient if you
yes.
don't surrender. And
True.
you cannot be obedient and not surrender.
True.
So I want
So
us to
true.
understand. So the next part for me, as I look at belief and obedience, I also look at how do I frame this now so that it comes out as I look at action, because I believe that faith
Yes,
without work is
yes,
dead.
yes.
So
Inspired
what I
action.
mean, yes, one of my foundation would be that I am focused and intentional on doing what, moving from
Exactly.
the obedience and surrender to putting my faith in action, to serve with what I'm carrying.
Yes.
So
yes,
that is
yes,
the next part for me, is action. It's built on action, but not just action, divine action, strategic action, divine energy, purpose. Those types of things is what I'm putting out when I say action. The next thing that would be built on my faith, that would be a foundation for my faith, is legacy. Why am I doing what I am doing?
Right.
When I understand what my purpose is, how do I deliver that purpose? Who do I serve? And why am I doing what I'm doing? Is it because of a title? Is it because I look at belief and trust. I look at surrender and obedience. And I also look at focused action, which is purpose. And I look at legacy. Those are the pillars that I would
Yeah.
use.
That is why, bitch, I'm glad you talk about legacy, because that is why we like chapter 19, which you spoke about the legacy of a lifted life.
Mm-hmm.
Very much
Mm-hmm.
so.
Because when
And you know, go ahead.
no, because when you specify that a lifted life says, I've been through pain, but I've also seen God's goodness, right?
Yeah.
I'm still becoming, but I walk with my purpose, but I walk with purpose anyway. Because as you constantly becoming, you're still walking in your purpose. Yeah, you've been through pain, but because you've experienced God goodness in your life, so it gives you the level of belief, the courage, and determination to still go forward because you know He's with you as you look up. Yes.
See that?
And I'm not
Yeah.
perfect. It's my favorite chapter
No.
too. That's why I'm smiling. I am
Yeah.
not perfect, but I'm
Right.
present, I am obedient, and I am
I'm
available.
available.
But
Yes.
present for myself. I'm present for others. I am obedient to God, and I'm also obedient to God to others because I'm now serving others, and I am also available for to be used, to continue to be used to pour into others,
Right.
and available to be poured into. So that's what it really means,
Mm-hmm.
as
Right.
I put it that.
And right.
So
And as you also said, living beyond yourself, right?
yes,
Living
yeah.
beyond yourself. And I think sometimes that's where people struggle with, right? Is living beyond yourself. Can you expand a little bit about that?
All right. So when we talk about living beyond ourselves, sometimes I have this mantra that I use to say that we must treat people the way we want to be treated
Mm-hmm.
if the position was reversed. So living beyond
Right.
yourself means that you always consider others as important as yourself. And as you consider them and you begin to serve them, you serve them from a pure, unconditional place. And so you don't think of the benefits that you derive from serving. You think of how you add value, how you
Mm-hmm.
make people become masters of
Adding
their own
value.
destiny, and how you have created a disciple. Because this disciple now carries your aroma that you have left, the fragrance, by teaching someone else to become masters of their own destiny and serving them, meaning meeting the needs and making people feel valued and significant. So, whatever their needs are, whatever they need, however they need to be empowered to carry them to the next stage of their life is what you are
Mm-hmm.
doing. So, you are not looking at the rewards, but
Mm-hmm.
you're looking at transformation that you are bringing into people's life. And that transformation transforms you, humbles you, and
Yeah.
make you
Yeah.
understand that you are just passing through. And if you can help someone, you are not living in
Mm-hmm.
vain,
Wow.
because it's not about you, it's about others. So your focus is
Yes.
not on you, your
On you.
focus is what you are delivering, and you spend time perfecting that so more persons can be impacted and more persons can be, and listen to the keyword, become masters of their own destiny and teach
Yeah.
others to do the same. So everyone is empowered, but empowered in their own unique space
Right.
and gifting and purpose.
Love it.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Well,
I was gonna say, a lot of what's in her book aligns perfectly with my speech of stepping higher. I mean, she talked about unconditional love. She talked about scarcity, which we just use different terminology, but we basically are talking about the same things. I talk about unconditional love and true love, right? Those two things, the line between those two things are really thin, right? Unconditional love is what people search for, and only a few people ever really find it, because they don't know what the experience of unconditional love
sure.
is because they started, as we have discussed off camera, from childhood. They never had it.
Right.
Even
Right.
with their parents, they had some type of condition attached to it. If you clean up, if you sweep, if you, something. They always have something
Right.
attached to it. So they've never actually experienced
Yeah.
full unconditional love. And from a man's perspective, when a man feels somebody give him true unconditional love, it breaks him down. And so a lot of times you'll see grown men cry like a baby. When a woman will just give him something, it can be a simple gift. It doesn't matter what it is, but it's given to
Yeah.
him out of love. He feels that, and it will break him down. And so the woman is trying to figure out, why are you crying? What's going on? But
Right, right.
never experienced unconditional love in his entire life. This is the first time somebody's shown him, I just care about you.
Hmm.
I don't have anything attached to it. I just care about you. I see you. That's difficult to arrive at, and you covered that in your book. You talked about that. And, the other thing was perceived scarcity. You talked about that too, where people are afraid to move in certain direction because they think they're going to lose something.
Right.
And, marketing, that's what marketing, that's the key to marketing, is you try to sell people, you get into their heads. Dr. Rod's going to love this part. You get into their head and you make them think that it's only a limited time they can buy this particular item, or it's so scarcity that it won't be around after a few of them sell off. This is it. You're not going to see another, right? And so this stuff all aligns from that perspective. People go through things and they don't understand because they don't take enough time to look at their lives. Now, the other thing that she touched on is really key here. I call it, it's a term for this called sunk cost fallacy. And what sunk cost fallacy is when you, Dr. Marcia discussed this, that's when you get stuck in a spot where the same people that you've been hanging around with, you don't want to leave them. Or a bad relationship, you don't want to leave that. And the reason is because you in your own mind think that I put so much time, energy, money into this that I can't even fathom leaving it. Why would I leave this? I know I'm being mistreated, but why would I leave? And so people struggle with that, and they don't have a word for it, but she put it in her book. So you have to get this book in order to go through these steps. But this book is well written from what you just described and it just gave us speech about. This book is well thought out in the
It
process.
is.
Yeah, it is.
Walking you through some processes that
It's well
has
written.
some principles
Yep.
attached to it that you can gain some better benefits for your life
It is.
in, right? The other thing that I like to touch on that she brought up, and it's called illusory truth effect, right? What illusory truth effect is that you repeat something in your head. It becomes like a chant. It's almost like you singing a song and you just hear it over and over and over. The more that you say these particular words or you chant these particular, lines or whatever it is that you're going to do there, the more you chant, it becomes reality to you. Your brain does not know, and we say this all the time, it doesn't know what's real and what's not real. So if somebody is talking to you and they're repeating the same words over and over and over and over, eventually it gets into your subconscious. And once it attaches itself there, because she brought this up too, she mentioned it, you'll be thinking about something and it'll go to a place where you'll start to memorize this. That's the same thing. And so you can program yourself to be as positive as you want to or as negative as you want to, right? If somebody is with you and she mentioned this, they're abusing you constantly. Every day they're saying negative words to you. If you don't have something to offset those words start to repeat in your subconscious. And before you know it, you're starting to buy into it. Whatever it is negative they're saying to you, you start to believe it. And so a lot of this stuff that she's talking about, these are all steps to higher frequencies, right? Or you walking yourself to a higher degree of divine energy or whatever you want to call it. Because all stepping higher is you have an increase in some space, you have a value about that increase, and then you believe that you are valuable enough to own whatever it is that you're stepping forward into, right? Now, when you say stepping higher, that's a financial term too. They use that on Wall Street to describe stocks and index and things, right? So you have to also believe that you are capable of being valuable in order to create value, right? So because you are. And see, this was people, and she brought this up. Dr. Marcia, you covered a lot of things. You brought this up, but people don't believe that they have a value within themselves. You
Right.
stand stuck in a certain position on their job, or the opportunity presents itself, and they won't step forward to take that opportunity, right? But that comes back to stepping higher. Because if you don't have that self-value, there's no way for you to own that or see yourself valuable enough that you could
Right.
fit into that position. Now, she did say this, and I don't talk about this a lot. In this system that we have, everything has been given a title. And I mention this all the time when I'm talking. When I'm in a room with people, I don't see your title. I see you, the person. So your title means nothing to me. I don't care how many of you got. I don't care if you got 50 degrees. That means zero to me. I'm talking to you, the person. I want to know who you are. And if I ask you directly to tell me who are you, I guarantee you won't be able to tell me that because you don't know who you are. You're those titles. But the answer to that question is I'm aware. But you won't know that, and you're gonna start naming off all these crappy titles and degrees that you have or have accomplished. They mean absolutely nothing because you don't know who you are if you're not aware of yourself. So you're walking around basically just a shell. She covered that too, and that's in this book. So her book, you have to get it. I would recommend you guys go out and get it today or after this show. At least wait till after the show. but get this book because it's well worth your read. And this is something else I want to throw in before I toss it back to y'all. There's a report, right, for college kids, and it, you know, they just announced this the other day about school and America is suffering from education. The lack of education is happening. But college kids now are not reading basic readings, right? They don't read to learn anything anymore. They read basically for pure information now. So they're only reading maybe a paragraph or so, and it's mostly about how to do something on AI or something computer related. So if you don't read, you can't connect to the language that we use. And we're losing that. And all this dressing up that they're talking about doing with education, it's just a lipstick on a pig, basically. Because the whole system, and this is what American business said, is that college kids now not coming out of school prepared for the workforce. That's because the workforce is not about slavery anymore. We have a different setup now. People are wanting information and they want to know what their skill set can do for them, not what you can put them into a system and do. We've moved beyond that, and that's where we're getting stuck at because these people are still trying to hang around because of the money that they've attached to this and hold that old system in place, but it's crumbling and it's going to fall apart as we continue to move forward because Gen Z is not going to sit still and tolerate, well, that's not for us. They're not going to let you plug them into a system, which is why they're having, and this is going on worldwide too. It has different titles in every country, but Gen Z is saying, I'm not just going to get up and just go to work for you every day. That's not going to work for me. You have to have something that's going to make, that's more conducive for me to do, that makes me hungry to want to do, show you my skill set. You're not just going to be able to slap a title on me and then say this is what the limit is that you can pay me, and that's going to be it. They're not doing that. They're not going to do that. And as a matter of fact, let me throw this in, and I'll actually throw it back to you guys. In one of those countries, and I don't recall it off the top of my head right now, there's a 15-year-old kid who can speak like he has the gift. He has the gift. What he did was organize a meeting, and all these kids from all these schools in this country showed up to hear him speak. When he spoke, he talked about how they were going to lose the country. The country is going nowhere fast, and the people that's in power right now are going to leave them nothing to, advance forward to us, to look forward to. And he asked, what we need to do is go and visit the prime minister, and let's ask him directly what we are going to do about fixing this. When they showed up at the palace, of course, him being in a leader position or a perceived leader position, he figured the army would protect them. These are kids we're talking about. So guess what the army did? They put their guns down. And when they put their guns down and the kids didn't have any fear of getting shot, they went into the palace, drug him out into the street, and beat the crap out of him. Excuse my language. Okay? They beat him down. And so these kids are not going to sit still and let these people that want to be dictators sit in place and pretend like they're going to run everything and it's going to be this. That system is gone and it's not coming back. And what these people need to understand is we're in a different era. And so the language part of this thing is the language, and I mentioned this to the ladies the other day we were talking, language to us as humans is like it's an element, right? It's like, and I'll put it like this: it's like fish and water. Okay, we have to have this language, so it goes together. In other words, and so as we speak, the language itself dictates where we're going to go with it. And language is powerful because it does a lot of things. There's things called loaded language, which Dr. Ross would love again because we're into the brain thing, right? And when you're speaking like that, you're implanting information or you dissecting and taking away information to give it a certain appeal to it, right? And so these are the things that she mentioned that's in her book. It's just the terminology of it is just worded differently. And that's the last thing that I'm going to say. I just said that 3 times, but that's what I talk about all the time is these systems. We're talking the same thing. It's just worded differently to make you think you can't fit into that system. But they worded that so the system was created to occupy. Like when you go to a room of lawyers, they'll try to pretend like they're the smartest people in the room because they're talking basically double speak, and everything that they're saying is just a circle. That's all it is. But their system is set up to when you in that system, they talking to each other, not you. And so you don't know the language, and you figure like, well, they're talking above my head, but they're actually just talking simple things that we should be able to understand from a general context of they're speaking to one another. The language needs to be simplified to where when you go to court, you understand exactly what you're in that courtroom for. Not all this double speak that they're doing. They're charging you per hour, $1,000 or so. It's a created system. We do it in medicine and everything else too. Everything is like that. The whole system setup is like this. Even when you go to college, they're teaching you vocabulary that you won't use in your daily life. And that's why these businesses now saying, well, they're coming out of school and they're not prepared for the workforce. Of course not, because it's a whole different system. Most of the stuff that you're going to learn in college is theory, and then when you come out and you get your hands on real world experience, that's a total different ball game. It's going to take skill set to do that. It's going to take, when I was doing TV and we would have, workers come in to run the cameras, extra workers that was taking college courses on camera, becoming a camera person. When they would come to an event and get on the camera, our cameras were set up differently than the ones they were learning on in school. And so when they got behind the camera, we were basically having to teach them right there in real time how to operate those cameras because they didn't have the same cameras. It wasn't set up the same. The language was different. And so they didn't know what a lot of the stuff we were talking about. So we had to take them and actually start educating them on how we're going to do things within our system so they would understand it better than what they were learning in school. They were just getting the basic stuff. That's all they was basically getting was the basic stuff. And you can learn that on your own. But when they came out into the real world and put their hands on the camera at an event, they had no clue of how to actually shoot or what the camera was actually doing because they weren't on the same thing. And so, all of this stuff is basically interconnected, but stepping higher, this stuff terminology wise is right in alignment with what Dr. Marcia just got through saying about her book. And so that's why I would encourage you to definitely get this book. It's well worth the read.
Yeah.
Now,
Yes.
Go ahead, ladies.
Dr. Ross is asking a question. How does one begin to rebuild faith after loss?
Good question, Dr. Ross. How are you doing?
That is a good question.
Dr. Marcia?
Very, very good question. But if we're talking about loss, we know that loss is not just the death of someone. Loss can be that you lose funds. It can be a financial loss, heavy financial, job. Or it can be that you also lose your voice or your ambition or your vision. So that is loss in itself. There is, I will be dealing with leadership, navigating grief as a leader. And on the 7th of October, I will be dealing with how we forgive in the workplace with Ronnie. And so I look at loss in any area is that, first of all, you have to have the acceptance pattern. What do I mean by acceptance? Acceptance means that if I have to cry, I cry. If I have to take some time off, I take some time off.
Right.
If I have to search myself, I search myself. So acceptance means that you go through the first leg of actually coming face to face or confronting what the loss is and what it means in real terms. Then you have to face the truth of it. So you accept that this is a loss. This is how it is gonna affect me, and I come to terms with the truth of it. When I accept it and I look at how it will affect me, what it means, what will change, I now look at how the change will pen out, in the sense that what value will it add to me, what will it change for me, and what will it let go? Meaning, what is it that this loss has removed from me that I never needed? What is the value that it has added, and what has changed, and how will that change affect me? I know sometimes person look at it as maybe minute or easy to say, but whether you accept loss or not, loss not going away because you don't accept it or you're in denial. The longer you take to accept what you cannot change, accept the loss and confront it, is the longer it will take you to actually move past it or move through it or overcome it. Because sometimes when you accept loss, you don't move past it because the loss is there of something very important. What is important is what you need to get before you can go through it. And so if you're stuck on the loss, that in itself will not make you move. You will remain stuck because you can't move. So here is my answer: how to rebuild faith. You look for the lessons that are in that loss, what it means, how you can celebrate the loss. So if it is the life of someone, the loss of someone that you love dearly, what can you do to keep their legacy alive?
Right.
What they value, how can you do that? What can you do? So that is building the faith. You build the faith in the sense that you understand that this person has a legacy, because faith carries a divine energy that leaves a mark that we call legacy. So what was their faith? How did they demonstrate their faith? How can you keep that faith alive and help it to become part of your foundation if it is somebody that you have lost that you love dearly? If it is a relationship that you should have come out of a long time, you maybe need to go and celebrate. And that celebration is affirming yourself. That is how you build back faith. You are affirming yourself, faith in yourself. Let me tell you something about narcissistic relationships. They eat into your spirit. So when you finally make the break with a narcissistic partner, residues are left in your spirit. And so to build back your faith, you're gonna have to get therapy. Whether we want to believe it or not, you're gonna have trained, because the things that they made you believe about yourself over and over, the creation that they made you think, the lack of worth, the constant nitpicking on how you did things or how you did not do things, the loss of autonomy that they took from you because you constantly had to serve them and you had to make sure that there were certain things that didn't happen and you didn't say certain things because they were overly sensitive. The isolation that they put on you, the malice you are, they gave you the silent treatment, which are common traits now of narcissists, is something that you have to actually do something about. So what I'm saying is, for you to build back faith in yourself with that type of loss of a relationship, especially a narcissistic, you have to get therapy or you have to get some coaching, and you have to actually reconnect to your voice, to your ambition, and to your vision, to yourself. And you're gonna need some help with that. And meditation helps, getting into a strong community helps, and appreciating yourself, treating yourself, and going out and celebrating your freedom and your emancipation is extremely good. If you lose a job, it is sometimes very challenging because you might not be able to get another category and so on. So what you need to do to build back faith in yourself is look at the expertise, what you are taking from that job and where it can carry you, and
Right.
take risks. You might have to open your own business. You might have to transition into something else. You might have to start looking at doing something different. So you want to pivot into what are the gifts and how you can transfer those gifts into the new space that you want to go in, and take a chance and actually take strategic action to get you to where you are. So that builds back your faith, because in that building and in that situation, you are developing new beliefs in yourself. You are actually discovering things about yourself that you never knew, and you're actually affirming yourself because you now have a way to get the fulfillment, and you get some help and assistance through a coach to carry you to that place, because the answers are within you. And if you lose financially, then building back faith in yourself is that you now have to prepare to understand that you have to start over. So accepting that you might have to start over, or you might have to trust persons less, or you might have to let go some persons, is that you're going to build faith, is still building faith in yourself. So you start with building faith in yourself in most of the loss that we go through, or building faith in the situation. We look at how we can cement the good parts of it. We look at how we can build it out. And we also look at how we can change the narrative or the paradigm so it adds value and it change outcomes and change lives, including our own.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. Can I add something to this? There's a term called thought terminating cliche, right? Every organization that exists uses this for whatever it is they want to use it for. Okay, good, bad, evil, whatever you want to put there, right? And what it is basically is a certain simple set of words, or word itself, that is repeated over and over and over and over. And as this is done, you reprogram the brain. And what you're doing is basically implanting a message into the subconscious again, where depending on who's delivering that message, it's either going to allow you to question, or it'll put doubt in your head that you can't question whatever the cliche is being put in your head about, right? And so that's why, like that's what Dr. Marcia just said there, if you get around, and Tommy, it's too bad he's not added to this panel tonight, because this is something he could have touched on right here, and he can still write up on the screen. But when you get into these organizations that are trying to help you come back for recovery programs, they do it in simple context. They use simple language, and then it's repeated over and over and over, which does exactly what I just said, which is like with a sports team. Since I've owned sports teams, and this is basically how you coach. You use the same language every time you speak. And as you speak to your group of players, it starts to embed that they start to buy into whatever the identity of, like your mascot or whatever your mission is. They start to buy into that because it's repeated over and over and over. And as Dr. Marcia said, acceptance is one of the first things that you have to do in order to get a team to win, is they have to learn how to accept losing. Yeah. Now, I know when you say that, people are like, no, never want to lose. I always want to win. No, but you have to, if you learn how to lose, you will know how to win. But you can't do it the other way around.
That's a good one.
If you never accept losing, there's no way for you to understand what it's going to be that you have to give up. Because it's going to take some deep sacrifice to win. In order for you to do that, you have to be able to accept that, okay, if we lost that, it's not the end. That's just another chapter. I need to write about this and store it away and know what I did, that didn't allow me to win this particular time. But now I have a plan that I can close that loop, so to speak. And so whatever mistakes were made before, now you understand how to fix those mistakes and get by them. And so this stuff, like I said, everything that we do is simple, and it's in her book. She's got it laid out for you. This is more than Dr. Marcia, I know what you titled it, but this is also like a manual.
Yes.
What you did is wrote a manual.
Yes.
It's a story within the structure of it, but if people read it, It's just like you mentioned about the Bible. It's the same thing. So many people don't read it and know what's really in those pages. But if you do read it, you understand it's a manual. It's not what you think it is, or not what you've been told it is. Once you understand what's really written on those pages, now the Bible
Yeah.
can be used to its full capacity because it is a very powerful book. But you have to understand what's written on those pages in order to utilize the strength that you can get from those pages. But if you just listen to somebody tell you about it all the time, you have no idea what the book is actually telling you because they're using it in bits and pieces, and that's all you're getting. But if you read it, I promise you, it will change some aspects of how you look at life, and then you'll understand how to utilize it for different things than what you think or thought it was only being used for. It's and that's what Dr. Marcia's book is.
And somebody actually wrote what you said. It says that My Faith Looks Up is not just a devotional. It's like finding a friend who really understands me, a wise friend who sits with you and helps you figure out your faith journey and life together.
Yes.
Yeah. So beautiful, and it's nicely packaged, and such a beautiful book and easy to read. Easy to read.
Very easy to read. And as one thing that I really love what you did in the book as well is that you put these reflection pages.
Yes.
Yes.
You put these reflection pages, and it helps an individual to sit, pause, and reflect on themselves with what they just read, and it is so beautiful when we talk about legacy, when we can leave a legacy, when we can leave a legacy. And the legacy is not just a legacy, it's a legacy to empower and to transform your life.
Yeah,
that's the legacy is a legacy of transformation. Go ahead, Dr. Marcia.
And I just wanted to make the point that one of the things that God says he will not find when he comes back on the earth is faith, which means that faith is going to be a test point, a serious test point. And we have to hold ourselves to account that no matter what, we will sight of the fact that we are fearfully and wonderfully made.
Right.
Life didn't just happen. And before we were born, God knew us. And he established the path that each of us would take. It doesn't matter where we are born, the family that we are born into. It doesn't matter the gold or that some are born into and the famine that some are born into. Wherever you ought to be in life, once you are surrendered and once you're obedient and once you have faith, because the Bible says if you're willing and obedient, you will actually eat the fruits of the land. So once your faith is as small as a mustard seed, you can actually say to any mountain, be thou removed, and it is moved out of its place. And I am saying it is challenging sometimes, very, very challenging to find faith, but you can dig deep and must dig deep when you have nothing else but faith, because faith, I leave it with that, has divine energy that constantly lifts and carries you forward. It doesn't drag you. So take the leap of faith. When you have nothing else but faith, use it to your greatest advantage. And it doesn't mean that every now and again you will not falter.
Right.
But your faith must protect you, and faith must trust you. And when I say faith must trust you, it sounds very strange, but faith must protect you, faith must trust you, and faith must track you. What do I mean?
Right.
When faith tracks you, it must look at the ways that your demonstrated faith, and it came true for you. When it protects you, it's when you're ready to give up, and when you're ready to throw in. You must always remember how God has led you in the past. And then Faith must trust you. You must have the testimony that you can tell yourself and you can share with others to strengthen their faith when they're at their darkest point. I see a question in the chat that said, how do you show someone that you recognize or something about their faith without
Right.
appearing pushy? Without being weird or pushy, how do you show someone you seek or recognize their faith without being weird or pushing? You can ask questions. Simple. You just ask questions. Why do you believe what you believe? Why do you live the way
Right.
you
Right.
live? How do I get to that place? Simple questions. It's just a conversation. A
Right. It's a
Right,
conversation.
conversation.
right, right,
Authentic,
right.
genuine conversation. That's it.
Yes, true. Wow. This was a very, very enriching
Very much so.
podcast this evening, you know, and we have learned a lot this evening as well from Dr. Marcia and Will, and that is why when you come into these spaces, whenever you leave from this space, it always gives you something to ponder on.
Right.
It always gives you something to think. And it's a good way to start off your week.
Correct.
When you come into these spaces, it's a very good way to start your week off because it gives you something to reflect on. You may be in your car driving to work and you reflect on what Dr. Marcia said this evening or what Will said this evening. It gives you something to reflect on, and reflecting on yourself and reflecting on the environment that you're living in.
Right.
And this space that we created here is for you, because we love you and we want to help you. We want to be of service. And bringing guests like Dr. Marcia and Will Williams and all our other special guests that we normally have on here is to help you to reflect on your life. Look at yourself. See where you're heading. See what are some of the things you need to change in your life. See what certain shifts you need to make in order to move forward. Because many times we are there, and as Dr. Marcia said and Will said, we are not accepting some of the things that is happening in our lives, and not realizing that these things that are happening at this point in time is to help us to, with that shift, is to help us to move that needle forward. That is why it's happening at this point in time.
Right.
But again, it's how we look at it, how we are looking at these experiences that is happening right now in our lives, not realizing it's taking us a step higher. It's taking us a step further. It's taking us to the next chapter of our journey here on earth. But we're not seeing those things as shifting us into something that is greater. So this evening, I hope that you take away something. If you've joined us late, we highly suggest that you watch this replay, because there is some nuggets here that we're going to guarantee you is going to shift that needle. And Dr. Marcy's book is not just only a book. This book is a guide.
Yes.
My faith looks up. This book is a guide because it's helping you as an individual to understand more about yourself. And in order for you to understand more about yourself, you got to put in the action to understand yourself. So Dr. Marcia book is like helping you to put in the action that is required of you as an individual to shift that needle, to go to that next chapter in your life. So we highly suggest that you pick up Dr. Marcia book. It's on Amazon. My Faith Looks Up. It's on Amazon. We highly suggest that you pick up this book from Amazon because it's a guideline for you as an individual. If you feel as though you feel stagnant, you don't know the sense of direction that you're going, just go pick up the book from Amazon because you're gonna realize what we are telling you this evening. How important it is when your faith looks up. John, Lady J.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. What a wonderful evening, great energy. It's you leave us wanting more.
Yes.
You leave us wanting. So I think we got to do this again, especially coming to the conclusion of 2025. This is such a time where all of us need a level of faith to move us forward to end 2025 strong. So much things are happening on a daily basis in our personal life, professional life, and everywhere. And seeing that we're talking about stepping higher, as you step higher, you have to have that level of faith. Because what are you rooted in? What are you rooted in? Because you may have all the dreams and you may have all the goals that you're aspiring for. You embark into 2025 with everything all mapped out because we all are humans and we'd like to say, okay, I'm going to do this, and in the commencement of 2025 we have all this resolution, everything, and we got to get this and that. Yeah, where are you now? How much you have accomplished? Where are you now, and how much you trying in this moment to finish strong? But in all of that, you got to be rooted in that faith. You got to be grounded in that faith. You got to be centered and balanced. And what's your why? How are you moving through challenges on a daily basis? How are you moving through pain and struggles? What is it that keeping you as a person? What is holding you? What is it that you know that you can look up to, as Dr. Marcia so beautifully explained so eloquently, and she always share. You got to have something. You got to have something that when the struggles come, the challenges come, the pain come, and lost hope, what can bounce you back in a state of hope and optimism? What is it that you're reaching for beyond yourself that you can pull from, that you can look up? And the people in your lives, as she beautifully outlined, the pillars, who's stretching you, who's just supporting you, who's being there for you. Just because sometimes, as you rightfully mentioned, Dr. Marcy, sometimes you just want somebody to be there. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to do nothing. Just be there. And then you like to have the people who can show up and tell you the truth.
True.
And tell you the truth. That what makes sense. Because we always have so many things in our head. But somebody who's going to hold us accountable. And there's one part that you describe when somebody can say maybe someone went through a loss or grieving or wherever space they're in. Somebody's going to come in and pull the curtains away, pull it up and say, no, we're going out. Because you might be in a very dark place.
Yeah.
You may not want to talk to anybody. You don't answer the phone. And if that is you tonight, we're letting you know, get this book. If you're the one tonight that has lost hope, you feel like there is no option, get this book. Or send us a note and we'll get the book to you. Send us a note and we will get the book to you. Because it's about serving, it's about giving, it's about sharing. So that we can bless you tonight. If you're looking to have one of this book, send us a note tonight. And we can get this book to you because Faith is essential
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes you have nothing.
Sure.
And what is it that you can hold on to that can keep you just putting one foot in front of the other? If you're that person tonight, we want you to continue to have enough faith. Look up. Look up. Because there is still hope. Tapping into your inner self, your inner being. Because you have what it takes. You're special. You have that level of uniqueness within you. And I like when you spoke about have a level of discernment. Because that's essential. We have to have a level of discernment. And when you spoke about readiness and preparation, because God would not give us something what we're not ready for.
Yes.
Because how would we handle it?
True.
We become overwhelmed. And you there was a part where you spoke about waiting. Sometimes we have to wait. We have to be in the waiting period. And when we wait, don't complain.
Mm-hmm.
Don't complain. Be
Mm-hmm.
silent, be quiet, and just
Mm-hmm.
trust. You have to have that level of trust and the level of knowing that God
Mm-hmm.
is working it out for you. He's working it out for you. And I like when you mentioned it, faith carries a divine energy.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can hold on to that and know that faith carries a divine energy, when we're holding on to that, it comes with an energy, it comes with that level of resonance, that we feel safe, that we know that we know. And there's a part, I'm going to go a little scripture there, which is say, you walk by faith and not by sight. And when you can, those scripture, that scripture in particular, helped Karen and I in so many times in our life.
Yes.
And we had to hold on to that,
Yep.
not knowing how, not knowing where, not knowing what.
When? How? True.
But we know that we walk by,
True.
we trust out that those words, walk by faith and not by sight.
True.
Those words anchored us. It
Yes.
anchored us.
Yes.
Because that is the faith that helps us to look up and pull from that level of energy, which carried that divine energy and held us and ground us and keep us centered and balanced. So we can muster up that hope and muster up that optimism. So tonight, this one is for you. You're listening, you're catching us live, you're catching us on the replay. Look up. Look up. When you feel there is nothing happening, look up. Look up and connect. Connect with a higher power. Connect, because it delivers all the time. It delivers all the time. Hold on to that as you move through 25 and going to launch into 26. Let that level of faith carry that resonance with that divine energy for the rest of your life as you continue to live life, because you're going to reach for challenges, things are going to happen. But remember, if you don't take away nothing from this tonight, remember, faith carries a divine energy, and hold on to that close to your heart. Keep it in your heart chakra, because as you travel on a daily basis, you're going to need it. Hold on to that and keep that going. We want to thank you so much, Dr. Marcia, for such a great moment that you share with us, your experiences, stories, and everything, and packaging your words in such a great book that the world will able
Thanks.
to have it on their nightstand. Gifts to others in the holiday season coming up. What can you share with
Yes.
someone to read? Get this book, because they're going to
Yeah.
need it.
Yeah.
Great book,
Yeah.
great packaging, lots of love, great energy, and as you clearly mentioned, faith carries a divine energy. Sit with that,
Yes.
carry that to the week, carry it to the rest of the year, carry it moving forward. Let that live beyond you.
Wow. Great job, Lady J.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna share a little story. I'm just gonna share a little story before we get off air. As John was speaking about, Lady J was speaking about faith. There was a time in myself and Lady J life when when our mother was in hospital, right? The decision had to be made by myself and Joan if to keep her or to let her go, you know? And it's just Joan and I. We don't have a brother. We don't have another sister. It's just the two of us alone, you know? And we had to come to that decision. It's time for the soul to go. The soul wants to go, you know? And it was a very tough decision. It wasn't easy. It was a tough decision because remember, it's our mother, right? But the point that I want to make here tonight is this. I want to leave you with this tonight, right? Whatever you do in this world, whatever seeds you are planting, plant good seeds. Plant good seeds, because you never know where you're going to reap that harvest. I say this to say this now. When my mother passed, right, her hospital bill was very huge. Myself and Joan, we sat down and we said, how are we going to get this bill paid off, right? A few days after, we get into meditation, we get into prayers, myself and Joan. And a few days after we prayed, we got a call from the hospital. The bill is right off. You heard that? The bill is right
Because
off.
of this, our faith looked up.
The seeds that my mom planted in her life, at the end of her life, she reaped that harvest back at the end of her life. Wherever you go, if you're listening to this podcast this evening, wherever you go, continue to plant the seed of kindness. Continue to plant that seed of love wherever you go, because you don't know where you're going to reap that harvest.
Right.
You just don't know where you're going to reap that harvest. Everything is not about money. You just don't know where you're going to reap that harvest.
Right.
When we get that call that morning, myself and Joey was sitting in the room, and we get that call from the hospital. We don't even know how this happened. We just don't know. And it's not our business to know. Get a call from the hospital that your mother bill is being right off. To God be the glory.
And thank you for sharing that, Lady K. And this is the month that our mom,
to God be the glory,
transition. This is the very month too. So I'm glad that this subject or this topic came tonight to talk about my faith looks up, because in those moments, I mean, you're experiencing something. Someone, the woman who carried you, as we always say, two sisters from the same womb, a woman who is truly amazing and truly blessed. And seeing us is represent her, because she's the hero paralyzed, our grandmother too as well, but now we're talking about a mom. And so it was so it's so touched, and she received the best care ever. So continue to plan. You listen to us tonight, you're watching us on the replay. Continue to give love, continue to share kindness, continue to be that light and inspiration to others. Because as you live life and you plant seeds everywhere you go, You don't know where those seeds are going to you will be harvested, because the universe, there is a law that it comes back to you, and it don't come back to you from the people sometimes you give it to,
Absolutely.
because that's not what it's about. But what
Absolutely.
it's about is you continue to do good, you continue to share, continue to give love, move into level of forgiveness. People have done you wrong, forgive, let it go, because you want all the goodness to come to you, and it don't only come to you as a person, it come to your family, it goes to your generation. So continue to give love, so that you can able to experience all the goodness that life has to offer to you. So
Yeah.
if you don't take away nothing else, take away that always, as Dr. Marcia shared this beautiful book with us this evening, My Faith Looks Up. Keep your faith up, keep living in hope, because we all are true testaments of experiencing the faith and love from God, and reaching out to something else higher than ourselves. So, Lady K, just thank you for sharing that moment with us,
I
because
had
my
to.
mom was truly an amazing woman,
I had
and
to.
we were truly blessed that she was our mom.
Yes. Because you know what, in life, we tend to look at the small things and make a big issue out of the little things in life.
Yeah.
You know, not looking at the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the little things, we create such a scene about little things, and not realizing the bigger picture in
Right.
life. You know, so, and sometimes people may ask myself and Lady J, how both of you are so kind to people. Well, why you do these things to people, you
Right.
know? But you know what? It's in our DNA, and it can't change. You know, it's in our DNA.
Mm-hmm.
We are here to be of service. We are here to be help people in whatever way we can.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna help, you know. And tonight, be of service.
Yeah.
If you can help someone, help them. Reach out and give love. Reach out with kindness.
Yeah.
Hold that space for someone.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever they may be going through, hold that space and be authentic.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
holding that space for that someone. To the viewers, we want to thank you so much for joining us today
Thank you.
and sitting with us for couple. It was about 2 hours, going to 3 hours. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
sitting with us. You know,
Yeah, thank
we hope
you.
that you take away something tonight.
Yeah.
And remember, my faith looks up. Anytime you're going through these challenges and experiences, say to yourself, my faith
My
looks
face
up.
looks up.
And grab Dr. Marcia book on Amazon. You're saying something, Dr. Marcia?
Yeah. I was saying that it's on special up to, it's on special up to the 15th of October. So they need to grab it. And there's a free gift that they get when they grab it too. Once they grab it and they send the notification, there's a free gift that they receive.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Dr.
Thank you.
Marcia. Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you once again for showing up in this space. Yeah, thank you. And for this week, just start doing some self-reflection. Sit with yourself. Look at some of the things in your life that is not serving you any longer and start to shift it. Start to shift it. And remember, your faith looks up.
Accept.
Have a wonderful week.
Yes.
Bye-bye.